Hi, I'm Madeline Gay, and I'd like to welcome you to the Sierra 2020 Team's virtual program. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, whether this is through a live Zoom call with the team or you're just receiving this message. We really wish we were in person giving this program, but we're glad that we've still found a way to share our stories and spread our pillars of hope, knowledge, and charity virtually. So I'm assuming if you're tuning in, you're familiar with our organization. Texas 4000 is an 18-month leadership development program, but it's also a 501c nonprofit. We function both as a student organization on campus, but also a registered nonprofit. And our cornerstone event normally is the 4,000-mile bike ride from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. But even though that cornerstone event isn't happening as we, of course, initially intended it to, we have been preparing for over 18 months for this journey, and in that preparation, we've all grown as student leaders and also have been able to pursue ways to connect with our pillars, which are hope, knowledge, and charity, as well as developing student leaders. Honestly, more importantly, what brings us all together at the end of the day is that we're all dedicated in the fight against cancer. All of us share this passion to fight cancer, and that's what initially drew us to the organization. Every weekly meeting, a different person from the team would get up in front of 70, 80 people and share their why I ride. In this segment, they would completely have the floor, basically, to talk about why they decided to join Texas 4000. Often, speakers got really vulnerable, and at the end of it, the team was able to come together and support this person and be motivated to ride for their loved ones that Saturday ride and throughout the week. Many of us have witnessed loved ones face cancer head on, and even if we haven't, hearing these stories from our teammates motivated us to ride every Saturday and throughout the week. So to begin, Ray will share his story and what drew him to Texas 4000 and motivates him to ride.
Hello, my name is Ray Kitziger, and today I am going to share with you why I ride, why I joined Texas 4000. I'm in my front yard, actually, in front of my mom's rose garden, because it looks really beautiful and it's just a beautiful day out, so thought it'd be a good little atmosphere. So when I first joined Texas 4000, I had two main motivations for fighting cancer, for doing this crazy thing to fight cancer. And my two motivations were two relatives on my mom's side, her cousin Mark and her aunt Evelyn. So cousin Mark, I never met him. He passed away before I was born, but he got diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma when he was in college. And I heard his story growing up many times, and it stuck with me, and it was just really, I felt like an honorable thing to do for him. And his mother, Evelyn, Aunt Evelyn, who's still alive today, who I love, just FaceTimed her the other day with my mom. She has been battling breast cancer for a few years now, and it has metastasized, and I love her so much. She lives in Europe, and when I was, I think, in 7th grade, we went over to Europe, and I met her for the first time, and it was an awesome experience. She and her husband, Uncle Eric, were just so kind to me, loved me like their own grandchild, and I've really cherished the relationship with them, and I've seen them since then, and just wanted to honor Aunt Evelyn and still continue to honor Aunt Evelyn and cousin Mark every day, and as a member of this organization. But after I got into Texas 4000, things changed. So in December, so I joined Texas 4000. I think we found out in late October, maybe early November, and that winter break in December, my dad had this pain in his abdomen, and he had diverticulitis before, and it did happen to turn out to be a flare-up of that, and so it was pretty bad. So he had to go to the hospital, and they got a CT scan just to see where the diverticulitis flare-up was. And it turns out on the CT scan they also found a mass on his kidney, incidentally. So pretty fortunate that he even had the CT scan to begin with, because that mass turned out to be a type of renal cell carcinoma. And luckily my dad didn't have any symptoms of that. He was still doing fine, and they caught it really early, which is once again so fortunate. And so our family was just shocked. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I have 3 older siblings, and they all came in to Dallas from, one lives in LA, one lives in New York. They all flew in to be with my dad during this time while he was recovering initially from the diverticulitis in the hospital, but then dealing with the diagnosis of at the time we didn't know it was cancer, but dealing with that diagnosis. And I think that just really brought my family together. And as the weeks unfolded, my dad decided to go ahead and get the mass removed, and they did the pathology on the mass, and it did turn out to be a type of renal cell carcinoma. And so I'm just so thankful that it is removed, and it's been just over a year, and he hasn't really had any symptoms or any recurrences at the moment. So just really so thankful for that, but also keeping him as one of my motivations to fight cancer, and just realizing how close to home cancer can strike. And so yeah, I definitely ride for my dad, ride for Aunt Evelyn, cousin Mark, and that's why I ride. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Ray, for that great why I ride. What attracts me to Text 4000 is that we have this platform to share our stories. In a similar fashion, I'd like to share mine. Principally, I ride for my Nana. During my freshman year of high school, after a 5-year battle with melanoma, she passed away at the age of 64. She was relatively young and active before the diagnosis, and it was really hard for my family to kind of watch her go through that. Her first, she would regularly get skincare checkups because she was fair-skinned and she was aware of the risk factor. However, the first time they went and she got a spot that she was worried about, they said it was fine, it was benign. However, she went back a year or 2 later because she still didn't feel right about it, and they told her it was late-stage melanoma. This was really difficult because we did think she was being proactive and she was being careful. And to me, that just shows the importance of continuing to check and continuing to go in and following your gut when something doesn't feel right. But enough about the awful circumstances that occurred to her, because what stood out to me most throughout her battle was how she carried herself. She never complained once about all of her treatments, chemotherapy, surgery. She never complained. You could barely tell she was suffering. She battled with grace, positivity, and poise. And even when she was going through these harsh treatments, she constantly put the needs of others before her own. I remember going to visit her in one of the last few days, and I went to her and she just greeted me with a hug and a smile and enthusiasm. And instead of complaining about her treatments, she was more worried about what dress I was going to wear to homecoming. So just little moments like that show how she was just constantly putting the needs of others before her own, and just being the selfless, genuine woman I hope to one day be. She had moved in with us in Houston a few months before she passed away to receive treatment at MD Anderson. And while losing her was one of the toughest moments of my life, I'm so grateful I got to spend those last few months with her. Honestly, I've been searching a way to honor her. And it takes time to process something like that. And I've never truly felt like I had an avenue to express how much she meant to me. And that's why I decided to join Texas 4000. She motivates me through the toughest rides. And when I feel like giving up, I remember how she never gave up. And she did it all with a sense of grace and positivity, which I try to bring throughout my life. And even though the ride didn't get to happen in the way I expected, I still felt like she carried me through a difficult semester. And I'm just blessed that Texas 4000 has been truly special, that it offers this platform for awareness. Now, I'd like to introduce Annalena, who will be talking a little bit about what cancer really is and what it means to her.
So, what is cancer? My name's Annalena, and to me, cancer is something that loses a lot of its power through knowledge. The thing is, cancer isn't just one disease. There are many different kinds. Cancer can start in the lungs, the breast, anywhere in the body. Some cancers grow quickly, while others spread more slowly. Some are caused by genetic factors, while environmental factors play a bigger role in others. We'll talk a little bit more about the difference between genetic and environmental factors affecting cancer later in this talk, but for now, we just want to emphasize that all of these differences mean that there's not just one treatment for the diseases that make up cancer. At their most basic form, however, all cancers have one thing in common. They're caused by uncontrolled and unregulated cell growth. Normal cells grow, divide, and die in a very orderly manner. Cancer cells, on the other hand, grow wildly out of control, crowding out normal cells and creating problems in the body where they start or where they spread to. Unfortunately, cancer is not uncommon either. It's a leading cause of death worldwide and the second leading cause of death in the US. Chances are you know someone who's been affected by cancer, or you've even had cancer yourself, and I ride for all of you. My family and friends, too, have been affected by cancer, from my grandpa Pete to my Opa and my beloved Oma, and I ride for all of them. I ride for a future where cancer plays a non-existent role in our world, and I'm hopeful that that future isn't too far away. Now, on to my teammate Emmy for a little bit more about hope in the fight against cancer.
Hi, my name's Emmy Merriman, and I joined Texas 4000 because I believe hope isn't just something one desires, but a confident expectation for something to happen. We don't just hope to fund for cutting-edge cancer research, but confidently believe we can live in a world free from cancer someday. I was hospitalized for medical treatment when I was in 8th grade and again my junior year of high school. Though my treatment was not for cancer, I formed relationships with others who were battling their own forms of cancer. I distinctly remember how filled with hope each of them were despite what they were enduring, and how encouraging that was for me to fight for my own recovery. I believe hope is like a muscle that we strengthen when we experience adversity and when we have relationships that are trustworthy. Some of the most beautiful times in our lives arise from underneath things we didn't know we would get out from underneath. Many of us have witnessed family members, close friends, and other loved ones suffer from cancer. And although it can feel intimidating to navigate, it is incredibly important to support those in your life who are struggling with cancer. There are many ways to do this. For me, it was through laughter, baking cookies, doing puzzles, but it all boils down to allowing your loved one to feel supported and recognized. Concrete ways you can help involve offering to go to the hospital with them, picking up their groceries, and simply just sitting with them or making them laugh. Many times, the battle with cancer can feel extremely isolating, and people just want to feel that they are not alone and that they are not treated differently than they were before. If able, encourage them to participate and engage in hobbies or activities that traditionally made them happy. It is important to be supportive, caring, and an empathetic figure that instills hope and friendship with them. Now, to talk more about how Texas 4000 gives back, Clara will tell you about our grant and research that Texas 4000 has funded.
Hi, my name's Clara, and I joined Texas 4000 for the many people in my life who have at one time or another been affected by cancer. Throughout my time in Texas 4000, that list has continued to grow as I have met so many people affected by this terrible disease. I originally joined Texas 4000 for my godmother, Margarita, who passed away 2 years ago after a very brief battle with cancer. Her name, Margarita, which means daisy in Portuguese, is why I have a daisy on the handlebars of my bike. Every time I look down, defeated and tired during a ride, I see that daisy, and it reminds me that I can't be defeated, because I know why I ride. I ride for my daisy. I ride for the family that lost their daisy far, far too soon. I also ride for Corin Bernard, whose passing from cancer changed an entire family and showed me the lasting impact that cancer truly has. Corin was such a strong woman, and just like Margarita, she spent her days in her garden tending and nurturing her plants in the same way that she tended and nurtured her family. Every ride as we passed gardens and beautiful landscapes, I remember them. And that to me is the most important reason I ride. I ride to remember. I ride to remember them. I ride to remember that cancer sucks and we need to keep fighting and we can't stop fighting. One thing that both of these women have in common is they both got their treatment at MD Anderson. Margarita lived in Houston, so she was just a car ride away, but Corin flew from Sweden to Houston because she knew that MD Anderson was one of the best places in the world to get treated, which is why one of my favorite parts of our Texas 4000 experience was getting to visit MD Anderson and see how our contributions have helped fund research that helps us get one step closer to cure. Our grants at MD Anderson have gone to MD Anderson's Distinguished Professorship Endowment, the Center for Molecular Markers, the Center for Targeted Therapy, and the Children's Cancer Hospital. But not only do our contributions go to MD Anderson, our contributions also go to UT Biomedical and also Brent's Place and multiple different places across the country that help us get one step closer to a cure for cancer and support those affected by cancer. So that's why I ride. I ride to remember, I ride to help get us one step closer to cure, and I ride because cancer sucks and we need to keep fighting. And I will keep riding until I can't anymore.
Thank you, Clara, for telling us about how the Pillar of Charity connects with you. Our next speaker will be Summon, and she will discuss how the Pillar of Knowledge connects with her personal story.
Hi everyone, I'm Summon. I'm a senior on the 2020 team, and this is my why I ride. So I ride for my dad. He was a professor at the University of Houston, and he did research on obesity and hypertension. He passed away last year from lung cancer, but I feel that the lessons he's taught me are stronger and resonate with me more than ever. One of his greatest lessons to me has been the lesson of curiosity. He and my mom have always stressed the need to learn about social injustice and healthcare inequity, and for that, I'm very grateful. It's part of the reason why I joined Texas 4000 to begin with. So the reason why I joined this org, besides for my dad, was that I wanted to honor the pursuit of knowledge that he was a part of. And each year, Texas 4000 grants awards to numerous organizations that conduct cancer research. We support the UT Austin Biomedical Engineering Department through an established Texas 4000 endowment and multiple research seed grants. We also give grants to MD Anderson, and throughout the year, we host on-campus skin cancer screenings as well. And what's interesting is that skin cancer can actually be very treatable if detection is early enough. And it's really relevant to our times because in the past 20 years, diagnosis of non-melanoma skin cancers have increased by 77%. So in order to prevent this type of skin cancer, it's crucial to avoid UV light, and that goes for people who are of color and as well as people who are white. It's a myth that people of color don't need sunscreen or don't need to protect themselves from UV light. People of color need it just as much as people of Caucasian descent do. So this can be achieved with something as simple as applying sunscreen or staying away from artificial tanning beds. Even if it is cloudy or you were just driving in your car, you can still be exposed to harmful UV rays. So by applying SPF, at least 15, SPF 15, you can avoid this risk factor. So beyond skin cancer, there's also preventative measures that we can take against breast cancer. It's highly recommended that women ages 50 to 69 regularly get mammograms. The American Cancer Society recommends mammography every year for women aged 50 to 54 and every 2 years for women aged 55 and older. Women ages 60 to 69 who get mammograms on a regular basis had a 33% lower risk of dying from breast cancer than their peers who did not get mammograms regularly. And beyond breast cancer, even one of the most effective prevention measures against cancer that we can do is adopt a well-balanced diet and active lifestyle. So a good diet and an active lifestyle have been linked to reduce cancer risk. As far as nutrition, there's no specific cancer-fighting food, but a balanced diet with fruit, veggies, and whole grain has proven to help reduce cancer risk, specifically colon cancer. And there's strong evidence that higher levels of physical activity are linked to low risk of several types of cancer, like colon, stomach, bladder, breast, and kidney cancer. So I hope you enjoyed our presentation on prevention measures, and I hope that we all stay safe and healthy in this time.
Thank you all for taking the time to listen and engage in our program. We love getting to share our stories and our mission with you. You can find our personal stories and more information about the team at texas4000.org. If you have any further questions for us riders, please don't hesitate to reach out. If our program resonated with you today and you'd like to make a donation to Texas 4000 and the advancement of research and care, you can also do so through our website. Once again, thank you so much for listening and participating, and we would love to close out with any questions or ride dedications that you might have. To Alaska and back,